The moment the massive motorcycle rumbled to a stop outside the small-town bus shelter, the world seemed to hold its breath, because some encounters arrive like thunder, unannounced and impossible to ignore, and they change lives before anyone realizes what is happening. The biker was enormous, wrapped in leather and scars, his presence swallowing the quiet afternoon, and yet the real shock was not the machine or the insignia stitched onto his jacket, but the way fate was already tightening its grip, preparing a collision between past and present that would leave no one untouched. Before the story pulls you deeper into this emotional journey, take a moment to support this channel if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet miracles that happen between strangers. Please like the video, share it with someone who needs hope, subscribe for more real and moving stories, and tell us in the comments where you are watching from today. Your support helps stories like this reach hearts that need them. The biker's name was Marcus Hale, a senior member of the Hell Angels, known across highways and underground circles as a man who survived things most people only feared in nightmares. His face carried the map of a hard life, with lines etched deep by regret, loyalty, and violence. He had ridden into this forgotten town only to refuel and disappear again, or so he thought. At the edge of the shelter stood a young boy named Evan Carter, thin, cautious, and clutching a worn backpack like a shield against the world. Evan had learned early that silence was safer than attention, that watching was better than speaking, and that strangers often carried storms inside them. Evan's life had been shaped by absence. His parents were gone, swallowed by years and choices no one could undo, and the only constant he ever knew was his older sister Lily. She was the one who worked double shifts, who skipped meals so he could eat, who smiled even when exhaustion bent her spine. She carried her own secrets, including a faded tattoo on her shoulder blade, one she always kept hidden, one she once said reminded her that survival was an act of courage. Evan remembered the design clearly because it was the symbol he traced in his mind whenever fear crept in, a reminder that someone strong was watching over him. As Marcus dismounted his bike, adjusting his gloves, the insignia of the Hell Angels burned like a warning sign against the afternoon light. He had no intention of interacting with anyone, least of all a child. But fate has a way of pulling threads without asking permission. Evan noticed the tattoo on Marcus's neck when the wind shifted his collar, and his heart stuttered. It was the same design. Not similar. Not close. The same sharp lines, the same subtle curve, the same mark that lived in Evan's memory like a secret prayer. Time slowed, and the air thickened with something neither of them could name. Marcus felt the boy's gaze like a weight, a look too focused to ignore. When his eyes followed Evan's stare and realized what held it, something ancient cracked inside him. That tattoo was not just ink. It was a ghost. It was a promise made decades ago in a hospital room that smelled of antiseptic and loss. It was tied to a woman he had loved and failed, a woman who vanished after he chose the road over responsibility, telling himself lies about freedom and destiny. Marcus had believed that chapter was sealed, buried beneath miles of asphalt and bad decisions. Seeing recognition in a child's eyes felt like being struck by lightning. His world, built on controlled chaos and hardened loyalty, suddenly felt fragile. Memories he had trained himself to outrun came screaming back, carrying the weight of abandonment, the kind that leaves scars deeper than any knife. Evan, trembling but brave in the way only children forced to grow up too fast can be, felt something shift as well. The man in front of him looked terrifying, but beneath the leather and menace was confusion, almost pain. Evan had learned to read emotions quickly, it was how he survived. He sensed that this stranger was not just dangerous but broken. The moment stretched, and with it came fear. Marcus feared the truth he might be facing. Evan feared that recognizing the tattoo meant opening a door he was not ready to step through. The world around them moved again. Cars passed. Wind rustled dry leaves. But nothing was the same anymore. Marcus found himself unable to leave. Something anchored him there, a silent pull stronger than any road. He noticed the boy's worn shoes, the way his backpack straps were frayed, the guarded posture of someone used to disappointment. Guilt settled heavy in his chest. If the connection he feared was real, then this child's struggles were not distant tragedies but consequences of his own choices. As the afternoon bled into evening, fragments of the past began aligning with the present. Marcus remembered the woman's laughter, the way she talked about family, the night she showed him the tattoo and said it was a reminder that even angels could fall and still rise again. He remembered leaving, promising to return, and then choosing the road one more time until returning felt impossible. The years blurred into excuses, and eventually, silence. Evan's thoughts drifted to Lily, to her tired smiles and quiet strength. She never spoke about their past in detail, only that they had survived something hard and that love sometimes meant carrying burdens alone. Evan wondered if this biker was part of that untold story, a missing piece that explained the nights Lily cried when she thought he was asleep. Marcus finally understood that running had cost more than he ever admitted. The life he built in the Hell Angels gave him belonging but demanded sacrifices he pretended not to see. Loyalty to the club had replaced loyalty to blood, and now blood stood before him in the form of a boy who should have been protected, not left behind. Change does not arrive gently for men like Marcus. It arrives like a crash, forcing decisions that strip away illusion. He realized that the strength he prided himself on was hollow without accountability. The road had taught him how to survive, but it never taught him how to be present. As dusk settled, something softened inside him. He knew he could not erase the past, but maybe, just maybe, he could stop adding to the damage. He thought about the Hell Angels, about the code, about the reputation that followed him like a shadow. Walking away would not be easy. Choosing responsibility over escape never was. Evan sensed the shift too. The fear loosened its grip, replaced by cautious hope. For the first time, he imagined a future where Lily did not have to carry everything alone, where answers replaced questions, where scars made sense. He did not know what would happen next, but he felt that this moment mattered. That evening marked the beginning of a reckoning. Marcus did not ride away immediately. He stayed long enough to let the weight of reality settle, to acknowledge that some roads lead back home whether one wants them to or not. The biker who froze in shock at a tattoo found himself facing the most difficult ride of his life, one that required vulnerability instead of speed. Over the following weeks, change unfolded slowly, painfully, but honestly. Marcus confronted his past, step by step, learning that redemption was not a single act but a series of choices. He learned that being feared was easy, but being trusted required humility. The Hell Angels were not left behind overnight, but their grip loosened as something stronger took hold, a responsibility he could no longer deny. Lily, when she finally stood face to face with the man she thought she had lost forever, carried anger and relief in equal measure. Years of struggle did not vanish, but neither did the love that once existed. Healing did not come in dramatic gestures but in consistency, in showing up, in listening without defense. Evan watched it all with wide eyes, learning that people could change, that the world was not only cruel but complicated, and that sometimes the scariest moments carried the seeds of hope. The tattoo that once symbolized survival became a bridge between broken chapters, a reminder that even the hardest lives could find their way back to meaning. As time passed, Marcus traded endless roads for grounded mornings, learning to be present instead of powerful. The roar of the motorcycle no longer defined him. What defined him was the quiet strength of staying, of choosing love over escape, of accepting the consequences of his past while building something better. If this story has begun to stir something inside you, if it reminds you that no one is beyond redemption and that kindness can change even the hardest hearts, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who believes in second chances, and subscribe to the channel. Your engagement helps these stories continue to inspire others who may feel lost. And before this story ends, we have a special request for you. Please comment below with the word hope and tell us what this story made you feel, because your words might be exactly what someone else needs to read today. In the end, the Hell Angels biker who once froze in shock learned that fate does not ask permission, and love does not disappear just because time passes. Sometimes, all it takes is one moment, one symbol, one brave child standing in the right place, to remind a broken soul that it is never too late to turn around and ride towards something worth staying for.